next one that I read was The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Cartoonist by Adrian Tomine. Adrian Tomine was born in 1974 in Sacramento, California. His previous books include Shortcomings and Killing and Dying, which was a New York Times bestseller. Since 1999, his illustrations have appeared regularly on the cover and in the pages of The New Yorker. He lives in Brooklyn, New York, with his wife and daughters. This was so good.
Oh, thank God. Because I know you loved one of his books, didn't like another one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We've been on a whole journey, me and Adrian. I read Killing and Dying, and I was obsessed. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
One of the best graphic novels I've ever read. And I was like, that's it. I'm an Adrian Tomine. And I am trying to really get that spelling or not pronunciation correct, because one of the themes in this book is how no one pronounces his name right.
That's so funny.
And I was like, it was really funny. I read that one and I was obsessed with it. And then I read Summer Blonde, I think. And I was like, nah, I don't, not for me. And then recently I read Sleepwalk. Was that the one I read?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I didn't really like that one either. Maybe I don't actually like his stuff. Maybe it was just like this one-off that I really like.
Yeah.
Then I read this one and I'm like, you're a genius.
I've read it for everything.
Love it. Amazing. So it's very interesting because this one is also a graphic novel memoir. And and both of these are graphic novel memoirs, and they both have the word lonely in the title. And they both do really deal with the lonely life of being an illustrator, which is fascinating.
That is interesting, yeah.
I never would have thought about that. Like, I will say, like, drawing, illustrating, painting is one of the things that I romanticize a lot in my mind, where I'm just like, gosh, to be able to just like sit there and draw and like play a podcast or play music, like that seems so wonderful. Yeah. But both of these really have emphasized how lonely it is. Like, you're always alone drawing and you're always like wanting to draw. And so you're always isolating yourself from everyone else. And you're constantly having to like work away from people in order to just sit there and draw and stuff. And so, yeah, it was interesting in that sense. Let's talk about the form, first of all. I also feel myself losing my voice. This is printed to look and feel just like a notebook, like a Moleskine notebook or a, what's the other kind?
I don't know.
God, it's that German one. I forget. But it's got the elastic band that goes all the way around this. It's the exact same size as a normal journal. All of the paper is graph paper. The whole thing is printed on graph paper. At the beginning, like the first page just says like, if found, please return to. So like if you open this, you would just think it was a notebook.
That's so cool.
And then it finishes off with like handwritten biography in a really random corner of the book. So it really feels like his sketchbook or like his diary where he just drew out his diary. And it was just so cool to, when I bought it, I remember thinking, is this going to be a gimmick? Also, this has a sticker on the back that says Mosaic Book. So that means I bought this in Kelowna.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, is this going to be a gimmick? Like, is this going to feel gimmicky? Is this going to feel kind of like a little lame that it's made to look like a sketchbook? Nope. I loved it. Nice. I thought it was so cool. I thought like, yeah, this is neat. This is fun. This is novel. You couldn't probably do this every time. But then I thought, maybe you could. Because it turns out this is a superior reading object. Ooh. Having an elastic band that goes around your book, turns out that's awesome.
True.
I love that because you're never scared that the pages are going to get bumped into or anything. Secure. It lays flat, which is awesome.
That's my favorite thing.
I also was able to use the elastic band as a bookmark, even though it has its ribbon, but there was like multiple options. I was like, wait a minute, is this the ultimate book form? We've all been sleeping on these moleskins. That's how we should be printing our books. Lecterm. That's the other brand.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is short comics, starting in 1982. Ooh. And spanning all the way to, when was this last one? It was like 2016, I think.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. Yeah, and so they span his life as a cartoonist. Wow, this last comic is longer than I remember. Oh, yeah, it was a really good concluding one. The last comic, we really built to something in that one. It was so beautiful. But yeah, I loved these comics. One of them made me laugh so hard. 2018 is the last one. Okay. One of them made me laugh so hard that I couldn't keep reading. Like, I kept trying to keep reading, but then I kept laughing, and then I made Connor read the whole thing, and it was so funny. It was so funny. I think, okay, when I reviewed his other one that I read a couple weeks ago, when I reviewed it on the pod, I talked about how, like, I found the endings of the stories really unsatisfying. I don't know if you remember that, but I was talking about how, like, they just kept ending. And I was like, what the heck was that? Like, it's so ambiguous. It's like, it felt like it just got cut off, and that couldn't possibly be where it was supposed to end. There's a story in here about him and his wife going, and he, like, has said that everything in the book that happened is true. So there's a story of him and his wife. They go to eat dinner at a restaurant, and they sit down at a table, and the couple next to them is talking about his book. And, like, it's just crazy. And they're talking about, like, the boyfriend is like, I read that book you gave me. And the girlfriend's like, did you like it? And the boyfriend's like, yeah, but, like, I thought it was so pretentious how he just ends stories at, like, a really random spot. And him and his wife are just sitting there like, I can't believe this is happening. And then the guy's just ranting on about, like, he's such a pretentious, and he, like, and I was like, I can't believe I just talked about that on the podcast, so like, funny. 2 weeks ago. I'm the problem.
You were being called out, yeah.
He called me out. And I respect the hell out of it, quite frankly. Yeah. No, it was awesome. I loved this book. This was so great. I will definitely, this is the kind of thing where I was like, I'll definitely reread this. Mm-hmm. I already want to reread this. It was so good. I just think that he's so strong at doing these short comics. Yeah. And I kind of feel like because they were about him this time, he had a better perspective on where to end them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, because he could see, like, because you self-narrate your life and you add endings to your own stories, right? So, anyways, loved it.